We're talking T. Higgins. We're talking Aaron Rodgers. We're talking Javonte Williams, Justin Fields, Leonard Fournette, and more. We're taking phone calls. We're doing it all live like we do every single Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So buckle up, get ready. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Smitty. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show, and we've got a big dose of a whole lot of different topics coming at you as we break down the Aaron Rodgers situation, which, you know, we're still talking a lot about some of the same stuff, but today we have a little bit more news kind of floating around. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Leonard Fournette getting released. We're going to talk about all of that and more. The Fantasy Football Show is just getting started, boys. Let's hit the news desk.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Let's talk about our little T. Higgins. And this is kind of a nice little story. I don't know if I have my T. Higgins graphic on screen or not. Let me see. Basically, they were talking to, let's see, where is my T. Higgins graphic? Let me screenshot it because it's important. And we'll put it right on the screen here. But T. Higgins not getting traded, according to the Cincinnati Bengals and Director of Personnel, Duke Tobin, I believe is his name. Duke Tobin, right? Director of Personnel, I think that's Duke. Duke made a couple different comments that were a little snarky, and it didn't feel like he was posturing. It wasn't any sort of like, let's vault the value up of this guy, T. Higgins. It went a little something like this. Okay, let me recreate it for you with my megaphone. So it was like, yeah, this is Bob from the Take a Lap Times. Are you trading T. Higgins? Because news wires everywhere that have no legitimacy whatsoever keep talking about it. And we're pretty sure this rumor, it's on the internet. It's on the internet, Duke. So we're pretty sure it's accurate. Are you trading T. Higgins, and if so, when? The answer to that question is as follows. And said voice used by Duke. Duke says, trading T. Higgins is not on our mind. He also added a little ridiculous right now, and that it's not his problem. Paraphrasing this last part, which is not here. Actually, I can read it here. He said this little snarky remark. He said, I'm not in the business of making other teams better. You want a great receiver, go find your own. So he ain't playing around. This guy's not ready to play ring around the rosy with his players. This guy's keeping them nice and tight and snug in Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow. How's he going to burrow you without two of his weapons or one of his weapons? People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
Also, very important, I think, draft note in NFL, scouting and player and rookie note right here is that we don't want another wide receiver like Jackson Smith and Jigba or Quentin Johnston or even Zay Flowers really landing in this spot. If we do, if we're a Burrow fan, okay? Because if Burrow got him, unbelievable. We're all Joe Burrow fans, are we not? All of us are Joe Burrow fans. Let's not get it twisted, okay? But if we want Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins to do their usual stuff, we don't want some third wheel getting in the way of that relationship, because then maybe Chase goes down, maybe T. Higgins goes down. Yeah, Joe Burrow goes up, but Joe Burrow's got enough footballs to throw around. He doesn't necessarily need this injected rookie. So if T. Higgins was traded, like everybody seems to want to happen, the whole fantasy world and the NFL news world wants to will this thing to happen, but Duke shut it down. Duke ain't playing no games. But if it were to happen, I'm glad it's not, then we have this potential void. Not only do we not want Burrow without T. Higgins, his little T. Higgins, but we don't want some other controversial number one landing on the spot, and then you got a Jameson Williams St. Brown problem. So we're pretty okay with where we are with our cigar smoking to the moon Joseph Burrow situation. Back to other topics, because this is a non-topic now that Duke has taken care of business. Am I right? Who's in the building here? First today in the building was non-interesting name. Travis Rose in the building. Swaggy. True Penguin in the house. Joseph. We're back. We're back. Little baby T. Higgins. #1 fantasy show on YouTube. I can send that comment to the moon, Joseph.
To the moon.
I'm pretty sure that's the most accurate thing I've heard all day.
That is facts.
On to the Aaron Rodgers saga. And when I say saga, I mean Aaron Rodgers saga. Okay, let's just put it that way. This guy, Aaron Rodgers, is a gem. Okay, let me start off by saying that. I love little Aaron Rodgers. Okay. We love little T. Higgins. We love little Aaron Rodgers. And anything I say negative about Aaron Rodgers in the next couple minutes, it gets a freebie, a pass. No pressure or whatever on Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. But he has been dancing around. He does so every single offseason. His right to do. He's been playing long enough. So let me defend him real quick and say this. All you people that get so mad about Aaron Rodgers and that he's full of drama and that all he wants is attention, you're the ones seeking the attention. You're the ones watching the videos. I'm the ones reporting on it. I'm the ones clamoring over a new Aaron Rodgers piece of news. Where's my football? I don't know why I need my football right now, but you're the ones that request this type of content. I don't blame you because I love producing it. Okay, it's not about clickbait. It's not about just running a fake story. This is all interesting stuff. Drama is why we're here. What are you going to do? If you were just into the scores and the numbers, you would just, at the end of the week, go check out the scores, see if you won. You enjoy the drama, okay? You were born into it, molded by it. And this guy, Aaron Rodgers, all he's doing is playing a very lengthy career. And at the end of this career, we should be so lucky to still have an option to play. He's one of the only players in the National Football League, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, that have the luxury of playing such a long career that of course they're going to have questions walking into each and every season. So let's calm down on, Aaron Rodgers just wants attention again. He does this every offseason. He does do it every offseason, but the difference between my stance and your stance is he's not doing it to piss people off. He's not doing it to piss people off. He's not doing it for attention. He's doing it because he's played so long. Look at the gray hairs in his beard. He's been playing so long, he's a dinosaur. Of course he's going to contemplate whether he wants to come back year over year over year. And it's going to happen again next year. It's going to happen again next year. If he does so happen to play more years and do the old Tom Brady routine. Okay? But don't get on his case about it. Act like he's a drama queen and watch it and then probe into his life. He doesn't ask anybody to probe into what he's doing. He told Pat McAfee, I'm going on a darkness retreat. That's all he said. One time, what does everybody do? Probe, including me, because it's fun and I enjoy it and I'm not complaining about it. I love it. But everybody starts complaining he's doing the darkness retreat because he wants... All you people that are nitpicking at Aaron Rodgers and his life and how he chooses to come back or not come back after he's gifted you so much NFL and fantasy football goodness, you're selfish and you should take a lap. On to more of a negative, or conversation. Like, again, nothing against A-Rod, but he's going to do this every year. He's going to do this every year, whether it's his right to, whether you should be mad at him for it, whether you should enjoy it. And so if you're the Green Bay Packers, you're absolutely crazy if you go down this road with Aaron Rodgers because you have a guy in Jordan Love you need to make a decision on, and you need to make it now. You don't make it next offseason. You make it right now when you could acquire draft capital, start prepping at the combine, watching these players before the draft capital goes up. Because guess what? I can tell you one thing with certainty, and this is in the NFL, and this is in fantasy football. Draft picks always increase in value as you start to put names in place of those draft picks. You start looking at the one pick. Right now, the one pick looks like the one pick. You like it? It's worth a lot. In fantasy football, it's worth a lot. Hold on a second. We got Tristan calling in, who's an Instagram...
This is Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan. We're in the middle of news, but go ahead and ask a question because you're an IG subscriber. You get the road, bro. But we're gonna do a quick 20-second question.
No. Finish what you were saying. I kind of had some off-the-wall topics I want to discuss. So, are you sure you want me to go ahead?
Well, you got 20 seconds, and then you can hang tight, and then if you want to stay on mute,
Oh, okay.
You,
Okay.
you can hang
All right,
you can
I'll
hang
pick one
through
thing.
my news, and then I'll jump right back to you. So 20 seconds. What's on your mind, real quickly, if it's relating to this stuff? If it's
Okay.
not, hang tight.
All right, I'll pick one thing. So one thing I haven't heard you talk about a lot is Kyle Trask. So do you feel he has a chance to be relevant, or like you're just kind of are you just kind of writing him off and assuming the Bucks are going to have someone else starting?
In Kyle Trask's his defense, I feel the same way about Kyle Trask as I did Jordan Love last year.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
it's evolved, right? Like, but the reason
Right.
it's evolved for me, and just being honest, is because if, let's say, Aaron Rodgers left last offseason, I think Jordan Love wouldn't have done well because he didn't have developed wide receivers. Aaron Rodgers put him on a fast track. He took these guys to he tutored them. This is like
Yeah.
took them to summer school, took them to extracurricular activity. Aaron Rodgers well versed these wide receivers, and Jordan Love can't fast track Christian Watson. Jordan Love can't do what Aaron Rodgers did. He grew these young men into monsters, and I shouldn't say monsters. It's Christian Watson is the monster, and then some other good talent that's developing. But now, I think Jordan Love can be handed this unit, and pause. Pause. Jordan Love can be handed this club. Pause. Jordan Love can be put in this situation, okay, and do very, very well. Very well. And I think Christian Watson, nothing happens to Christian Watson in a negative sense, because guess what? Aaron Rodgers, as good as he is, he might be dropping off slightly each year. And so, maybe Jordan Love can meet him in terms of a talent level at this point. Maybe Aaron Rodgers, at the end of the day, you want him more for the winning factor. And I know some will say that Aaron Rodgers doesn't win the playoffs and all. I get it. But I'm okay with Watson, bro. I'm okay with Watson with Jordan Love. I'm okay, obviously, with Watson with Aaron Rodgers. But here's the thing. I'm more willing to gamble on Watson having potentially this longer-term quarterback in Love than having one more year, one more like final off into the sunset moment with Aaron Rodgers, and then what happens next year. So give me the maybe lesser Jordan Love this season with the upside that Watson's going to be taken care of, for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
I like the way the Jordan Love narrative is swinging. It's just recent. Like I took him in a startup, and the talk about him now, it makes me feel a lot better. And I think he's got potential to be a relatively consistent starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm open-minded to it. I don't want anybody to think I'm a Jordan Love truther or anything. I was not open-minded to it last year, and I think he would have failed. Or he would have had a bad year, and then maybe this year he could have Watson could have matured on his own or with the help of Love, but he wouldn't have been fast-tracked. Like it's like Watson grew 3 years. It's like Watson's entering his third or fourth year physically and mentally because of this man right here. And if anybody wants to pretend, Aaron Rodgers isn't that good, then you haven't been watching this man's whole career, because he takes one wide receiver after the other. And while it's normally not a rookie, Bob, I know keyboard warrior Bob out there starting to, angry Angus is typing on the keyboard right now going, he never does good with rookies, Smitty, you're wrong. He doesn't do good with rookies because he doesn't need to. He always has a number one elite, top 5, top 7 wide receiver in place that he created. So if a rookie comes in, they get slow tracked because you don't need to. But Aaron Rodgers fast tracks anybody that is ready and in position. Normally not a rookie. Doesn't mean it can't be a rookie. And he proved that with Christian Watson. So Christian Watson will be fine. I'm not 100% sold on Jordan Love. I'm very intrigued by Jordan Love. Intrigued enough, I'm willing to take the gamble that Watson will be set up for 10 years or 5 years or whatever long Jordan Love stays, if they ink him to a big, long extension. But I'm telling you right now, unless they do this, the Green Bay Packers are setting themselves up for a debacle, a disaster. Maybe they're not logical, but it should be logical to them. It should be logic. Okay, are you going to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. Probably not. Could you?
That's so funny.
I suppose you could, but I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it. I'd say you'd be hard pressed. You'd be hard pressed to make the NFC Championship game. Very hard pressed to make it. And you could make it. You could make it. But could you make it with Jordan Love? if what, and I'm not saying you can, but if the Green Bay Packers believe the stuff they're spitting out, and maybe it's posturing to get Aaron Rodgers to speed along this discussion with them because they want to know now. If they believe in we're infatuated with Jordan Love, GM saying we're ready to go and roll with Jordan Love, we're very confident in Jordan Love. Some of it could just be posturing and all that, but if they feel very confident about it, then why not take the gamble and see what you got? Guess what team has had 2 quarterbacks since 1991, I think, or 1992? The Green Bay Packers. Right. It's been, some of you weren't even alive. When were you born, Tristan?
What? Oh, man, 1998.
1998. Brett Favre was like in his, I don't know, 4th or 5th year or something like that in 1998, bro. Like that, we had Walkmans back then. And everyone's talking about how, Jordan Love might not be it. I'm not going to say he's not it. This team knows how to roll with 2 quarterbacks since 1990. What's the year? Somebody get the year for me. I think it's 1991 or 1992. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 quarterbacks. Do you know how many teams like clamor for one quarterback for just 2 or 3 or 4 years? Like, I'd love to have the same quarterback for 2 or 3 years. This team's had it since the early 90s. 2 quarterbacks. It's unbelievable. Yeah, but the time is, the reign needs to end. And they need to see if they've got the next 15-year quarterback. They may not, but they need to check it out because guess what? They lose him. They're going to lose. They don't have a chance to give him a contract. He's not going to be worth extending or doing anything with. And so you got to, if you keep Aaron Rodgers, you're trading away Jordan Love. If you're keeping Jordan Love, you're trading away Aaron Rodgers. It's one or the other. And my sense right now around the league, and I've got a lot of sources, some bigger than others in different, with different clubs. Okay, like I have some teams where I really don't have any really deep inside information at all, and some clubs I have like people that are, whether it's 2 or 3 really hardcore, biggest fan pages and news sources around, whether it's a beat writer that I know, whether it's a person that lives right next to the stadium. I have text message strings with all sorts of people in every single facet of every single scenario, right? And like I said, some of them are stronger than others. My Green Bay connections are pretty darn good. And the sense I get right now, and I don't have any insider information, I'm just saying the vibe I get by listening to all these different outlets and people that I know that are very connected. When you start seeing very similar patterns, I'm a very pattern recognition guy. And I'm really feeling the sense that, not that this can't be solved. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers doesn't announce he's coming back to the Green Bay Packers. That could happen tonight. That could happen tomorrow. Because really, it sounds like the Green Bay Packers are allowing, from what I'm hearing, Aaron Rodgers to make this decision. Okay, so that's why I'm not ready or comfortable saying it's going one way or the other for sure yet. I don't have a source that's making me state that. And anybody that says Aaron Rodgers, I hear, is staying, they don't know what they're talking about. Aaron Rodgers is for sure going. They don't know what they're talking about. It's in limbo because everything I'm hearing, it is in Aaron Rodgers' hands whether he wants to go this way or this way. But here's the new sense that I'm getting, the vibe I'm picking up from the people that I know that are connected or more connected than I am to this situation. It's not going to take that long for this to flip in the other direction to where the Green Bay Packers tell him we're going to go ahead and move on. Like they are tired of waiting on this situation. They wait because it's Aaron Rodgers. They wait because winning a Super Bowl is massive influx of cash. Winning a Super Bowl is a nice pull for new players. But the problem is they win a Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers walks away. There's no longer any attractive components to this team other than Christian Watson that are going to lure anybody in. The benefits of keeping A-Rod are very small because they have to win a championship, which they haven't been able to do lately. They're very, very much, in a over the cap situation that I think they're still $1 million or $5 million to $5 million over the cap. They restructured some people to get under the cap. We thought maybe that was an indication that the team was ready to bring Aaron Rodgers back, right? But this is all about getting under the cap, not just about Aaron Rodgers. And so if they trade away Aaron Rodgers and they do it on June 1 or later versus before June 1, they get to spread out the $40 million hit over the course of multiple seasons. Whereas if they trade Aaron Rodgers before June 1, they're taking a massive hit in this first year and taking their lumps early So it's tough to know. That makes an Aaron Rodgers trade very complicated because of his contract and the way it's written up. If, let's say, he's going to go to the Raiders, they might tell the Raiders, we'll trade you Aaron Rodgers, but we're not trading him to you until June 1. And that's going to be crazy because they got to wait until June 1. So we don't know. Or they could want to take their lumps and say, you know what, we're kind of in a rebuild mode. We're not winning a championship with Jordan Love, but we can develop Jordan Love, and we'll go ahead and trade Aaron Rodgers. We'll take the hit. So be it. But bottom line is, I'm getting the vibe that is still in control. Aaron Rodgers is still in control, but I think that window is closing, and he's going to be told, we're going to trade you. Where do you want to go? If he doesn't start, making a decision. Why? Because they're at the combine. Right. So I truly believe we will be at a point where in the next 3 days, maybe sooner, where maybe we hear what's going on. Because it's only fair. He said he was going to let the team know before free agency started on March 15. But the Green Bay Packers are evaluating players. The Green Bay Packers are having conversations, and the combine is a big opportunity to potentially kickstart a lot of stuff. And I think that, while they can't have any negotiation or, tampering and all that, but it's definitely one of those situations where I really feel like Aaron Rodgers is pushing his luck, and he deserves to do that. Like I said
he absolutely is. I've never seen the entire, it's like the whole NFL community and fan base and teams and managers and owners are all on hold for this one guy. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I'm obviously, like we said, I was born in '98, so I haven't been on. Been a lot,
young pup,
long, but
young pup,
like that.
Young pup. Look at you, born in 1998.
Well,
yeah.
Like I said, you never seen anything like it. Not that
Yeah, no. I'm not ripping on. I'm just saying, must be nice, bro. You all those TikTok, the TikTok filters out there, putting yourself back into your teenage years, doesn't even work on you, bro. You stand in front of it, and it doesn't even change your face. You're lucky. You got your whole life to live, Tristan, and hopefully. I mean this with the sincerity in my heart, bro. I hope to God. I don't mean this. I'm not wishing you a short life. This statement is a long, healthy life. I hope that you only see one more Green Bay quarterback in your lifetime. That's what I hope. I hope Jordan Love plays for 40, 50 more years, bro. I hope that I hope that they don't have musical chairs at the quarterback position. Or I should say, let's be realistic. Let's say you get 2 more Green Bay quarterbacks in your lifetime. Okay, 2 more. Let's put it that way. That'll give you a nice, long, healthy, realistic life.
Right.
I may see one. Jordan Love might outplay my years on this earth. I mean, this is crazy how Green Bay works. 1990. What was it? 1991. It was Brett Favre and then and Aaron Rodgers since 1991 or 1992, something like that. Absolute madness, bro. All right, hang tight. Just put yourself on mute if you don't mind. And and then anybody else wants to call in after the news, we'll do a little panel. We'll go back and forth.
No Kyle Trask, though.
Oh, so yeah, your question. I get a little long-winded. I'd say Kyle Trask.
No. But you basically answered. You said you feel about
I'm not
him
there.
how you felt about Jordan Love.
Yeah, I wasn't there on Jordan Love last year until I saw some things or the team developed. Now the interesting part about my comment there is that the Bucs have 2 wide receivers that are fully ready, whereas the Green Bay Packers didn't. So my reasoning is a little different too. But Trask, I need to see some progress on the field before I'm going to tie my name and reputation and predictions to him. So if I'm guessing, I'm going to sit back and see what other people do when they invest in him. You want to take him as a backup quarterback or a second quarterback in a Superflex league. I'm going to watch with open eyes, very, very interested. Maybe I get on board at some point. He did have a nice college. He has some good stats that were pretty impressive. Low interceptions. He got to learn under Tom Brady. Maybe he ends up being right. Keep in mind, I was in the fantasy industry professionally. This is how long I've been here. When Aaron Rodgers took over, I was producing content from a fantasy football professional. I've been from my thefantasyfootballshow.com. It was a different name back then. The name switched. But I've been producing content. I was on CBS and NBC Sports Radio when this whole situation took place. And there was talk about Aaron Rodgers. we were all the whole industry, everybody on planet Earth, very skeptical that we'd see somebody that could emerge, that could not only fill Brett Favre's shoes, but that would become better than Brett Favre. It was just unlikely. You know what I mean? So even I had my questions and doubts about Aaron Rodgers when he, like, look, this guy, then he got hurt right away, and so there was like, this guy can't, maybe he can't stay healthy, maybe he can't stay healthy, and he's got to fill Brett Favre's shoes. Like, give me a break. So Kyle Trask, it's very easy to be like, ha ha, like, this guy's going to come in and look better than old Tom Brady. Maybe he does. I'm not saying he's better than Tom Brady. I'm not saying anything like that. But maybe he looks better than aging, decrepit Tom Brady that just retired, that everybody says lost it. He couldn't throw the football 50 yards down the field. Maybe Trask comes in and actually makes this offense look good. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. All right, mute yourself real quick, and I got to get through the rest of this news.
Okay, sorry. Thanks, Mitty.
No, you're fine. All right, so Green Bay Packers, where's my other piece of Aaron Rodgers news? It is right here. Hold on, where is that at? Okay, here it is. So earlier we had Jeff Darlington drop this, and we did a live stream on it. So this is kind of recapping the earlier Aaron Rodgers news that says the situation between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, both publicly and privately, is feeling more like two sides trying to navigate the perceptions of a breakup rather than two sides trying to find out a way to continue forward together. Very interesting 2 weeks ahead. And this is the feeling that I'm getting. Remember, I said I feel like not only am I reading things from really reputable, even though he's been way off on some things, and they ask him opinions on certain segments that he does and interviews that he does. So like, he is injecting opinions sometimes, kind of like Adam Schefter. Sometimes Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington and these guys, they want so badly to be in the talking head space. I'm a talking head. I think I provide news better than anybody. I'm not trying to be arrogant about that, but I go live with anybody before anybody goes live. I'm on call. I'm 365. I'm 24/7. I don't just wait till the morning to break news. I'm 24/7. That means if it's 7 a.m. and I haven't even slept yet and news breaks, I don't get to sleep until later. I have weird sleeping hours. Sometimes I sleep 3 or 4 hours. I'm year round, and so, but I'm a talking head essentially that has a big opinion on a lot of different things. And these guys that are factual based reporters like Jeff Darlington, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, they want to be talking heads so bad because those are the fun guys. They're tired of being the pencil pouch, guys that just report the news, although that's cool. And everybody respected Adam Schefter more than anybody in the industry for the longest time. But he started blurring the lines between opinion and fact, and he doesn't really emphasize when he's talking one over the other sometimes. And so he gets himself in trouble in the eyes of the news world, in the fantasy football and NFL consumption space, because people end up saying, look at this guy. And he's not very good at predicting things. He's very knowledgeable, and he's got sources that no one else has. Him and Ian Rappaport, they're going to hear stuff before anybody. Most of the news that I break on here and break down is being reported by Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, but I'm giving you my spin. That's why you're here. So I feel like it's this right here from Darlington. He's been wrong before. He does inject his opinion. He doesn't really clarify when it's opinion or something that he's hearing very, very closely related to the situation. But this matches everything that I'm feeling, everything that I'm hearing. And so it does, like I said, the window's closing for Aaron Rodgers to control the situation. They're only going to wait so long. They haven't given him a deadline. That's been very, very clear and outlined. But I believe their interest in letting him decide everything is starting to dwindle, the idea of that. So we may just see the Packers. I don't think they're gonna disrespect Aaron Rodgers and come out and announce that they're moving on before Aaron, but I think they could privately be like, look, Aaron, why don't you give us a call? It'd be one of those like you're getting fired moments. Why don't you come into my office and close the door? Terry Roberts dropping a super chat. Favre versus A-Rod, both are Hall of Famers. Smitty, you pick. I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers. I love Brett Favre. I watch both of them play. Unlike some of the people, like the guy on hold right here, Tristan, he just heard stories of Favre when he was older, right? Right, Tristan? Tristan's
yeah,
not,
man. He was actually
muted.
one of the first people that I really liked, but then he did all that nonsense, and people don't really like him all that much. So.
Hold on. We got Shardell Shardell, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show. I'm in the middle of news. I want you to hang out. I don't want you to hang up. But you got 20 seconds to tell me what's on your mind, then I want you to go back on mute until I'm done with the news real quick.
Hey, Smitty, so what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers going to the 49ers to team up with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy?
let me just, Shardell, that's cute, bro. Shardell, that's cute, bro. Oh, you're serious? Shardell, let me break this down. First of all, I appreciate you calling in, and I love you, pal. But there's zero chance that the Niners are getting a Derek Carr, let alone an Aaron Rodgers. Zero. You know why? Because no quarterback wants to go into a situation where there's other starting quarterbacks. It makes no sense. They would literally have to have like Purdy news that he's out for the entire season. And if Purdy's out for the entire season, they go into his elbow. Purdy's heading to Arizona to get a look at his elbow to see when they can have the surgery because there's been extra swelling. So let's say they go in and Purdy's not going to be ready at all in 2023. That news comes in, and let's say they decide to trade away Trey Lance, okay, to get draft capital. That is when an Aaron Rodgers would accept a trade because guess what? Aaron Rodgers has to accept the trade. Otherwise, he could just retire. He has some control here because he's at the end of his career. Aaron Rodgers wants nothing to do with a competitive situation. So, because listen to what you just said. Go over and pair up and team up. What did you say team up with? Team up with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. You didn't even say go over and start for the Niners and sit these two children on the bench so he could take over. You said team up. That's the problem. No one's going to team up. And the funnier thing, and Shardell, I love you, pal. I'm not mad at you. The funny thing is when Niner fans say, why don't we bring in Derek Carr to back up Purdy or be there for the beginning of the year? Do you think Derek Carr, who's got the world by the balls right now, he could go wherever he wants. He's going to get over probably $140 million guaranteed. $120 to $140 million guaranteed is probably what he's going to get. I imagine he's going to get $35 million a year. And when I tell Niner fans that, and I love my Niner fans, but they're just so optimistic about, everybody wants to go to the Niners. We should get everybody. We should bring everybody. We should get him. We should get him. Niner fans say, "Oh, he's not worth $35 million. He's not going to get $35 million." Yeah, he is. He's the number one quarterback in free agency right now in the National Football League. Aaron Rodgers is not a free agent. He has to be traded. Lamar is not a free agent. He has to be traded. Derek Carr is the most attractive free agent quarterback by a landslide, and he's not going to sniff any kind of competition-related situation because look what he just came out of. Absolute trash hole, disaster of a situation. So the last thing he wants is complexity. And not to mention, Shardell, are you guys going to actually, in terms of the Aaron Rodgers, pay a quarterback $60 million for this coming season?
I mean, I'm not going to pay a quarterback that much money. I mean, it's going to be extraneous, if we get him. I mean, we're not going to get him because that's hypothetical. But, in the NFL, people are making all these hypothetical moves that we're going to get Martin Mariota. We're going to get this quarterback. We're going to get that quarterback. I mean, you need to understand about, what goes into getting somebody like, Rodgers or Mariota.
Look, do I think you win a championship with Aaron Rodgers? I do. And so for that reason, I'm on board with you, but not in the way that you worded it and not in the way that it actually would go down. Because they're not getting rid of Brock Purdy. And as of this moment, Brock Purdy still could have a shot to play by the second month into the season is what my guess would be. And so Aaron Rodgers, nobody wants to go into that environment, especially Derek Carr, who's choosing his final home. He's able to get over $100 million in guaranteed money, $35 million a year. He's going to choose the best fit for him, and it's not that. It's not that. And Aaron Rodgers, you'd have to pay Aaron Rodgers $60 million if you were to acquire him. That's what you'd owe him this year, $60 million. And the complexity of the fact that if you trade for him, there's a potential the Green Bay Packers say we're only trading him on June 1. What's Shanahan going to do? Wait until June 1 to get Aaron Rodgers onto the field and into the clubhouse? So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Sorry.
Shardell,
Where
you're
they can-
Shardell, you're really faint, bro. I can barely hear you, pal.
Can you hear me now?
No. You're about as
Try calling back.
Okay, thank you, Shardell. I appreciate you. I just want you to know that. Okay. All right, Shardell's going to call back. We're going to go on with the news real quickly, and I'll get through all this real quick. Aaron Rodgers, let's hear. Green Bay has to make moves for the future. Agreed. Kevin, thank you so much for the super chat, my guy. And I think I missed another super chat earlier. Hob G, you still here? Hob G says, man, was the pack okay? Before them, yeah, bro. It was so long ago. 1980s. It's been since the early 90s that the Green Bay Packers have been dealing with two quarterbacks. Absolute madness. So Aaron Rodgers, I believe news kind of breaks in the next, we'll call it 4 to 7 days, but hopefully in the next 48 hours. Javonte Williams is in the news because first of all, I went live on a premiere on something I recorded the night before. So last night, a whole long ordeal, post-production video. Whenever I do a post-production video, it's about an hour of filming, 2 or 3 hours of editing. It's a lot, or sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours of editing, depending on what it is. But I put in the grind because those are quality shows. I think they have a different vibe to the channel. I think it's easier to concentrate on them. They're 13, 14 minutes of a show that would be normally 30 minutes if I did a live stream, or 40 minutes. And it's just good content. So I do that. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not complaining. But I did that video the night before. We premiered it in the morning. And an hour later, news broke that was suggesting the opposite of what I said in the video. But what I said in the video was what we had at the moment. That Javonte Williams was being talked about is hitting the PUP to start the season. Then this news breaks an hour later after my premiere that GM Georgie Boy says the running back Javonte Williams will be ready for the start of the season week 1. This is anticipation, right? He anticipates that. Now, this is potentially GM talk. Doesn't mean that it's actually, factual information. If you can imagine GMs, they oftentimes will do things like, they'll call up, they're not always as hands-on. Every GM's different. But, hey, how is he looking? How's our guy looking? And then down on in the training level, it's like, he's looking great. He's looking great, Georgie Boy. He's like, you're going to get him ready for the season? He's in a suit and tie. He's eating carrots and ranch and dipping, on the hors d'oeuvre tray, having a meeting. And he's like, yeah, we're going to do our best to get him out there. Okay. Shh. Don't tell him he's still on crutches. Okay. Okay, great. He's going to be good. I feel good about that. See you later. Keep me posted, okay? Anytime, day or night. That's how a lot of these conversations go. I'm not saying the GM isn't hands-on. I don't really know George. To be honest with you, but we got to be a little careful. This isn't GM speak, or we hear coach speak, but GM speak and especially owners like Jerry Jones talks. He does influence and put pressure on certain things that he says he wants done, and they do happen sometimes. But I'm a little optimistic, but also very cautious. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this news is going to have any legs. No pun intended. Any knees. Any tendons, any ligaments. I just feel like, at this point, I'm still feeling like we might see PUP. And if we don't see PUP, if he doesn't get, maybe he's ready for the season in terms of he's out there with the team. Is he going to hit the field on week 1, or could it be delayed? We've seen that with J.K. Dobbins. They thought J.K. Barkley would be ready, but they weren't quite ready. So we'll know more in the coming months. But for right now, I still say stay away from Javonte and redraft unless you're getting him in round 9. And this news might jump him into round 7, and that's just too costly for me at this moment. Could I change? Absolutely. Am I excited for Javonte? Absolutely. Tristan, thank you for the super chat. Who's on hold right now? Just want to say thanks, Smitty, and Trey Lance to the moon. Okay, Tristan, appreciate you. Hang tight. Okay, so Javonte, I'm rooting for him. I will change directions. It isn't me flipping and flopping back and forth like everybody seems to think that's what happens when an analyst or a talking head changes their mind. I'm very open about that. I move with the wind. Okay, you wouldn't want somebody that digs their heels in and doesn't change directions with new news. But the news that came out today that he could be ready for week 1 coming from the GM, it's not moving the needle too much for me. but I am very, very optimistic we aren't hearing bad news. You know what I mean? Better that we're not hearing bad news, but I'm not so sure the good news is like outstanding news that makes me feel like he's like Breece Hall, or he's way ahead of schedule. Breece Hall, I believe it because Breece Hall had a cleaner tear. This guy tore his LCL and his ACL. LCL being on the side here, and the knee went like this, and you can see it stretching right here. You can see it stretching when you tear, and it just pulls it, and you don't tear it in half. The LCL is very hard to snap in half. Very rare that it ever happens. And if it does, that's bad. That's real bad. But he didn't. He just, probably a first or second degree tear, not a 3. And then he tore his ACL in half. So he has a lot of trauma to the knee, and a lot of healing, a lot of swelling, a lot of potential cleanup surgery possibilities. Things like that emerge all the time. So Javonte Williams, Justin Fields. This is old news, but they're talking about it a lot with all the combine talk. Justin Fields. The Bears are leaning toward trading the first overall pick versus trading Justin Fields. We know there's a lot of smoke involved, and then this right here, leaning toward trading the number 1 pick, Bears GM Ryan Poles, which is good news for anybody that was scared that there were some legs to the Fields being traded rumors. But Poles also made a couple comments that you could attribute to wanting to trade the pick really soon, or wanting to maybe make moves involving players and evaluate, like, is there a trade scenario where Fields could be dealt, where you could get players and picks in conjunction. So he said there are scenarios where you can have players as well. So they're looking at everything is basically what he said. Now, again, maybe looking at everything in terms of trading the draft pick before the combine's over or before free agency starts. This was a comment he made about free agency. Like, are you making a move before free agency? There are scenarios where we can add players as well and kind of know what we need and what we want to do before free agency, kicks off. Like, that's the whole idea. Right when free agency kicks off, trade the draft pick or trade Fields. So there's some kind of questionable ways to decipher what he's saying in that. But ultimately, we know it's smoke unless somebody comes along and offers the Bears an offer they can't refuse. And again, there is that scenario, and I think people need to understand that could exist, because if, like I said before, the Texans come and the Texans offer the 12 and the 2, for Fields, then all of a sudden the Bears have 12. The Bears all of a sudden have 2 and 1, and you can do so much damage. They also have other picks that are going to be. They could even trade that 2 down to like the 7 or 8 and pick up another late 20 pick in the first round and have 4 first rounders and literally draft Stroud at 1, draft Bijan, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and an offensive lineman all in round 1 by trading Fields. And that would be an absolute crazy way to build, and an amazing way to build, and a fun way to build. And maybe Stroud is Poles' guy. We don't know. So it's hard to say, oh, that can't happen when you don't know what Poles is thinking. He's an aggressive guy. Last piece of news here, Leonard Fournette being released. We saw this coming from a mile away last year. We said it over and over that this guy's not it. He's not it. And so now it's Rachaad White season. The problem is we don't know who's throwing the football in Tampa. We think it's going to be Trask now, as we talked about already. Tristan asked a question earlier before I continued the news. And if Trask is the real deal, then Rachaad White could have a nice little season. If Trask is garbage, if he's a trash can, then you're talking about inefficiency and not moving the football down the field, not getting in goal line situations, not getting in red zone situations, not getting in scoring position, averaging 3.2 yards per carry versus 4.4. And that just destroys a running back. And too many times we see a guy that we love like Rachaad White get ruined because of the situation. So hopefully the Tampa Bay Bucks don't just try and rebuild while they have these 2 weapons and wide receivers and Godwin and Evans sitting there on the outside, and they've got Rachaad White. I hope they get aggressive and they figure out a way, or Trask is the real deal, and we're all very, very happy with what we see. That is all the news for right. Oh no, Trubisky. Ron's gonna love this one. I think he hates Trubisky, but Steelers GM talking about that Trubisky has been awesome, and that he can envision Trubisky with the Steelers in 2023 and beyond. And the reason I hate this is because if there's any questionable, if let's say Pickett goes out there and has some bad games, I think this this team is susceptible to be like, well, Trubisky's had success. We've won games with him, and we'll put him in. And I just don't want Trubisky anywhere near the lineup, because then you see Pickens kind of vanish, Deontay Johnson gets used more. So I just want Pickett to Pickens to remain the thing because they've got a rapport together. All right, let's go back to Tristan. Tristan, what do you have for me?
Trey Lance to the moon, Smitty.
I'm excited, but I'll tell you, man, your head coach, worries the heck out of me. I think he doesn't set Trey Lance up for success. I think I think he also, when he talks about Trey Lance, he talks about him as a dual threat quarterback. And why has he got to be a dual threat quarterback? Like Brock Purdy's mobile. Brock Purdy's very mobile. Very mobile. Like why is Brock Purdy thought of as the gunslinger and Trey Lance is this, okay, he's this project dual quarterback. They both can run.
Like, teach him how to throw better. We saw Jalen Hurts improve. Like, if you think, I don't know. We saw
Jalen Hurts improve, but we're seeing Shanahan, in my opinion, fumble the quarterback position time and time and time and time again. And so it worries me that he doesn't want him to succeed for whatever reason. I'm not saying he's going out there and sabotaging him on purpose, but it worries me that he doesn't believe in him the same way. The fact that he's coining him a dual threat quarterback when him and Purdy have the same scrambling ability essentially, and that means he's gonna design the offense differently. And I don't like that. I want the offense to be the same. I don't want him to design the offense around a dual threat quarterback and run the guy up the middle so he gets injured again and then blames it on the luck of the game. Oh, it's just, you run a quarterback up the A gap like Derrick Henry, quarterbacks get hurt. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I want him to be a pocket passer because he's got an arm and he has the ability, like Purdy, to get out of trouble when he needs to and still get a 40, 50, 60-yard rushing effort out there without even design run plays. Design run plays on the outside, sure, but not design run plays up the gut. This is not a Cam Newton. You don't want to just run Trey Lance up the gut. It's why I believe it's why he got hurt. I believe that. I know a lot of people don't, but whatever.
Well, this isn't college. This isn't high school. You're not running your quarterback up the hole like that.
Mm-hmm. What else you got? Trey Lance.
I just really hope Trey Lance. I mean, how do you have the guy third and then act like he's just like?
I love him, bro. I love Trey Lance. His skill set's amazing, but he's at a very critical, delicate stage right now where it's like he's got one more shot, and this is it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a Brock Purdy looking over his shoulder. He has one more shot. Sure. And could he end up somewhere else and climb up? Yeah. I'm not saying the door is totally closed, but this is like the last opportunity to be the presumed starter because Purdy's coming to Arizona to have his elbow looked at to see if he can even have surgery yet. It's so bad. The swelling's so bad. That tells me there's problems involved. Swelling is an indication that there's a problem. Your body's releasing the swelling as a protective measure, like an air cast. It's like, inject air, full load drop.
Initiate full load drop.
And he's doing everything he can to try to get that elbow right.
Initiate full swelling load drop. And when you start swelling around an injury, there's a lot of, damage there that's being protected by the body. So the fact that they can't even have surgery yet is a bad sign. This guy's not playing week one. It would be reckless, and I wouldn't put it past Shanahan, though. It'd be reckless to send him out on the field. What?
That's just hilarious. I mean, because he just does things like that. You're right.
Yeah, and bro, I'm about to go into rant mode here. I'm getting worked up. Another thing that really ticks me off is when people say that Shanahan isn't partly responsible for all the stuff that's going on with these two quarterbacks. It really bothers me, bro. You know why? One reason it bothers me in particular with Brock Purdy? Let me ask you a question. Tristan, answer me honestly, and then I'm going to ask the same question for Shardell. So give me short answers only. Brock Purdy is going to a specialist in Arizona, in my home state, to see if the swelling has gone down on his elbow enough to have surgery. He can't even have surgery yet. It's been a long time since the injury, bro. Answer this question for me, Tristan, and I'm not mad at you. I'm raising my voice. I'm just upset. Do you believe that the reason he's having elbow surgery, are you fairly confident, is because he put a guy out there with a torn UCL to continue playing football?
Oh, it absolutely had something to do with it. He was definitely injured, and they just threw him back out there after Josh Johnson, I think is his name, went out. That was completely reckless. They should have put their emergency QB in. I know that sounds terrible, but don't put an injured man in there.
Where's my marker? Hold on a second. I'm sorry, I'm going into rant mode real quickly, okay? Look.
No, you're good, Smitty.
Warning.
Alert. Maximum levels reached. Prepare for transformation. Alert. Maximum levels reached.
Look. I'm a little irritated by this conversation. Your UCL, bro. Let me explain something. Your UCL goes along your whole arm. Okay? Like that. I just drew one on my arm. This thing snapped in half. Total UCL tear. Or it was mangled to the point where this thing was let me show you up close on that. Okay? He's so injured. They say, get out of the lineup, bro. You can't throw. Okay? Get out of the lineup. Johnson goes in there, gets concussed. Hey, guy with the torn UCL, get in the lineup. They throw him in the lineup. He's on the sideline throwing at least, I don't know, Tristan, what would you say? In Chardell, at least like 40 passes on the sideline to see how good he could throw because his coach asked him to go back in. So he's like sitting there going, okay, torn UCL, ow. Torn UCL, ow. Go ahead and keep warming up, bro. Let's see if it gets better. Let's see if it reattaches itself. Torn UCL, ow. 45 practice passes on the sideline. Then they ask him to go back out there and continue to hand the ball off. Throw little 5 and 6 yard dump passes because he can't throw the ball. And people wonder why he has inflammation in his arm right now and he can't even have surgery. People wonder why I get so upset at Shanahan and his decision making with personnel and quarterbacks. It makes me so angry that people defend Shanahan all the time. Everyone calls me a Shanahan hater. I'm not a Shanahan hater. I just don't think he makes good coaching decisions. He's a great scheme guy. He's a great offensive coordinator. But this guy, Brock Purdy, there's a reason his UCL is so swollen right now. It's because his coach made him go out there in reckless fashion and throw the football with a torn UCL. Complete tear.
I mean, about the Brock Purdy situation, I'm like, why did you put him in the game when he was injured? Like, Kyle Shanahan, come on, you're a head coach. I mean, like, are you watching out for your players? Like, when
no, he's not.
The well-being of them and making sure that that you don't put them for further injury.
I don't know why anybody's defending him. Oh, he runs his quarterback Trey Lance up the gut in the A gap and the B gap, bro. These aren't designed runs around the outside. These are halfback plunges like Derrick Henry takes up the gut to hit offensive linemen, 300-pound linemen, and not only does he not protect them there, but he dances around this Jimmy G trade release situation all offseason, ties up $27 million, doesn't address the offensive line appropriately. And let me say this. I've been on record saying the offensive line played pretty well considering what had happened. But imagine if you protected your quarterbacks better. You know, everyone keeps saying, oh, he can't blame him for freak injuries. Well, can you blame him that both his quarterbacks went down, all three of his quarterbacks went down when maybe they didn't get the protection they need because you were so worried about dancing around with Jimmy G in the offseason? And the whole, worked out pretty well. They needed Jimmy G. That didn't work out pretty well. He fell into that situation. People act like he made a decision to keep Jimmy G. He got forced into keeping Jimmy G. They said goodbye to Jimmy G. And it didn't even give him a playbook.
I mean, as a 49er fan, I'm like, I don't understand this whole rumor situation that Jimmy G is going to come back to the 49ers. I mean, he's a free agent. He's not coming back to the Niners. I mean, like, if whoever's saying that should stop saying that because that's complete false information. It's total BS. I mean, like, I don't even know who's even saying that nonsense stuff.
Tell him, Chardell. Chardell's going on rant mode.
I mean, like,
Warning.
I mean, whoever's saying that should stop because he ain't coming back to the Niners. It's a done deal,
Maximum
man. This guy's
levels
not coming
reached.
back. So whoever's
Prepare
saying
for
that
trans-
should stop saying that. Absolute
Stop
false
it.
information, BS.
Stop it.
Saying that.
Stop saying it now.
Alert.
He's not coming back.
Don't do it.
Trade this guy to the Raiders.
We don't know who's
Trade
saying
Jimmy
it, but
to the Raiders. I don't. No, I'm saying trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders, man. I don't care. I don't want to see this guy in San Francisco.
he's not trading him. He's free agent, like you said, so he can't get traded. But stop saying it. We don't know who's saying it. But stop it. Hey, Chardell.
And Joe Montana is the first person who said Jimmy G is going to be a starter next year.
Let me tell you something. Okay, you want to know who's saying it? Joe Montana said it. Joe Montana, you're right. Joe Montana started the rumors.
That's why.
Let me say something really clear. Let me say something really clear for everybody in the back.
Can I say something? I like Joe Montana as a person, but when he says stuff like that, I just lose absolute trust in him, man. I'm like, I don't. You said something totally blasphemous. I don't even think I believe in you anymore. I don't think you're my favorite quarterback anymore. Because you said that. Because you said something so blasphemous, like Jimmy G is going to be a starter in 2023. Like, just stop, man. Like, you're a quarterback, man. You're a legendary quarterback. You say
Maximum
something
levels
blasphemous
reached.
like that on social media,
Prepare
on the air.
for
Stop saying that.
transformation. Alert.
Look.
Like you better, you have to shut the F up right now or you're going to know what's coming for you.
What?
No, I'm saying Joe Montana.
Okay. I know, but...
I'm saying Joe Montana should stop talking.
Tristan, or I'm sorry,
like that.
Chardell, hold on a second.
You're crazy.
Hold on a second, bro. I got you.
I never hear that from anybody's mouth, like saying Jimmy G is going to come back next year.
Warning.
Okay.
Like,
so
I'm a Niner fan. I've been supporting this team for so many years, and I never heard anything like that.
All right, Chardell, hold on. Pause. I got you. Let me say that now. My point is
like you are. Remember, you said you're going to go on a rant. I'm going on a rant.
Yeah, part of me, for my point, not even having any power anymore after that, because Chardell's so upset that my rant doesn't seem justifiable. But let me say something for everybody in the back right now. This guy, Joe Montana, I don't care if he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. A lot of Niner fans come at me and say, when I say that Joe Montana doesn't know what he's talking about, Jimmy G is not a good quarterback, and he's won games because he's been on a winning team, and the team carried him. He can't throw, but 15, 20 yards down the field accurately. I'm not going to get into my Jimmy G spiel, but let me just tell you this: when people come at me and say, "Smitty, you think you know more than Joe Montana? You think you know more than Joe Montana?" Actually, I feel I do in terms of this being my job. Joe Montana's job was playing the game. My job is to analyze players playing the game. I don't care if I played or didn't play at a pro level. This is what I do. Just because Joe Montana played the game at an elite level, one of the best ever. Michael Jordan was one of the best basketball players in the history of the NBA. Probably the best athlete, in my opinion, in the history of all sports. The GOAT, the true GOAT is Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan knows nothing about player evaluation. He drafted, Kwame Brown at number 1 overall. Okay, so let's not pretend Joe Montana gets some kind of automatic, I know what I'm talking about when I'm evaluating NFL players. He doesn't. He's also got all kinds of animosity toward quarterbacks coming in and replacing starting quarterbacks. Am I right? Am I right, Tristan? It's like Steve Young came in and took his job, right? So Joe Montana is very bitter about Jimmy G, who he sees himself as the Jimmy G, and his comments are all skewed and biased toward the fact that he doesn't want a quarterback to come in and replace a starter. And not to mention, what a dumb comment to say, Joe Montana to say Jimmy G will be the starter next year. There's zero way that happens because of what I've mapped out before. Jimmy G financially can go get starter money in a very weak quarterback market where there are literally 8, 9, 10 teams that need a starting quarterback. So the market is going to demand that Jimmy G get paid very well to start somewhere. Like I emphasized with Derek Carr earlier, laughable when a Niner fan says we should bring in Derek Carr. Such an oblivious, it's cute, it's real cute comment. Such an oblivious comment.
Do you agree with me that it's blasphemous that Joe Montana would even utter that comment saying that Jimmy G is going to be a starter next year? Like, hearing that from his mouth, I'm like, you know, he needs to be sensible of what he's saying, you know, because he could be an analyst on TV. Like, I don't want to see him play the sport of football.
Yeah, bro, I don't know about blasphemous, but I'll say that it's not a logical statement. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I mean, it's not blasphemous, but it's shocking to hear that from his mouth. You know, the word is shocking.
It's just not educated. It's not educated. It's not educated. So we'll leave it at that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that Jimmy G financially can't stay in San Francisco because Jimmy G financially is going to get one more bag. He's not getting a bag from the Niners. The Niners are going to pay their third quarterback that they hope to fill in for the injured Purdy and injured Trey Lance, one of which will be back starting. They're not going to pay a quarterback starting money. Jimmy G's getting starting money. And so it's a ridiculous statement to suggest that the team is going to actually go after Jimmy G, pay him what he could get from one of these other teams like the Bucs or the Saints, which they will be overpaying, I might add. They will be overpaying and very disappointed with Jimmy G and what he brings to the table. This is Carson Wentz. This is Carson Wentz 2.0. This is Matt Ryan going and playing football and being very disappointing and go, oh, God, this isn't what we paid for. That is what Jimmy G is going to end up resulting into for anybody that wants to know how it's going to play out. Me saying he's going to get the bag does not mean I believe in him. The market commands it. Look at the free agent quarterbacks. Again, Aaron Rodgers must be traded. Lamar must be traded. Those are not free agents. Derek Carr is in a tier of his own, and he was released, which means that he can go wherever he wants right now. He doesn't have to wait till the league year starts on March 15. Every other free agent, and Carson Wentz as well. Carson Wentz and Derek Carr can go wherever they want. But Carson Wentz and Jimmy G and Mike White are the top three free agent quarterbacks. And you see all the teams, you can take Miami out because they have their starter in Tua. And I think Jimmy G wouldn't want to go to Miami because Jimmy G would potentially be competing for a job. And why would Miami pay a competing quarterback bank when they may or may not start him? He's only going to go to the Raiders if they botch the Aaron Rodgers situation. He's only going to go to, hopefully not the Falcons, please, Lord. The Bucs or the Saints, which is not a great look for either of the wide receiver sets there. Or maybe he goes to the Colts or the Panthers. Who knows? But he's going to start. Joe Montana doesn't know. Because Joe Montana is one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever played the game doesn't mean that he knows more about fantasy football or the NFL or NFL predicting or how things are going to play out in free agency. He doesn't have the experience to talk on these things, not to mention he seems a little bitter and senile for what happened to him and how Steve Young came in, and everything he says is rooted in that jealousy and competitive nature and disgust that he had for that situation. And so when he talks about Trey Lance and talks about Purdy, he's talking about it from the Steve Young. This is Steve Young. He pictures Steve Young's face on Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, and he just can't take it. He just can't take it. He sees Jimmy G as his younger self. This guy, he thinks that's what I looked like, too. When I was a young man, strapping young man, I love Jimmy G. This is me.
For me, I don't know why many 49er fans are saying that Tom Brady is going to come to the 49ers. I'm like, he's retired. This guy's not going to come out of retirement and sign with the 49ers. I mean, they're a big franchise. I don't think he even wants to play for the 49ers. I don't know why.
Right.
That's another big rumor. That
I got you, Shardell. I got you. We're going to move on, bro. Okay, so next topic. The phone lines are open. Dial into the show. Here's the phone.
Call into the show.
Bye, Smitty. I'll talk to you next time.
All right, Shardell. Appreciate you. Call in anytime, pal.
See ya.
You need to rant? I'm here for you. Okay, Tristan, you got anything? You got anything you wanna
add? No, that's the tragedy of the situation is that Jimmy G is good enough to get a starting job. And so he will, and yeah. He's not going. Not going to no cloudy situation. All
right, see you later, Tristan. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
All right, phone lines are open. Dial in if you guys want to get in on the mix. What do you guys think of Aaron Jones' situation? Well, Aaron Jones has been restructured, so he's staying in Green Bay. One kind of like interesting note that ties back to maybe they're reloading. But they also want to support Jordan Love. And restructuring was very, fiscal. It definitely took care of, keeping Aaron Jones in a fiscal way. So it's not like keeping Aaron Jones necessarily means that for sure Aaron Rodgers is coming back, but it was one of the signs that said, okay, they're still very open to bringing Aaron Rodgers back to retool, to reload. They want to save cap. Restructuring Alexander and all these other pieces is also a way of saying we're open-minded to reload. We're getting under the cap the best way we can. We don't have a lot of cap space to retool and reload, but we're certainly going to get there. And if not, then we want to retool and reload and restructure and keep Aaron Jones to help, further along Jordan Love's career. And I can tell you right now that the Green Bay Packers are going to try and win. They're not just folding, so they're going to try and win under Jordan Love. And maybe they do. Maybe they shock everybody. Tyler, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show. All right. Good talk, Tyler. Appreciate you. Smitty is passionate about his opinions. I sure am. Smitty isn't nuts. He just hates stupidly. Hates stupidity. Oh, I thought Roger was saying I hate stupidly. I feel like I don't hate anybody, but when I do hate, I don't think it's stupidly. But he said he hates stupidity. Roger's got my back. I read it wrong. Smitty is a nut, says Cannon. Okay, well. I speak my opinion, Cannon. Not sure you're always going to like it, but I do appreciate you. Get your facts straight, says Niner Rick. He said he should be the starter. No, I think he was asked. I'm not positive on what he was asked. I want to say he was asked who does he think he's going to start. I don't know. I don't remember correctly. But I do know he's spread a lot of Jimmy G should be the guy. Jimmy G should be the guy. I think they're smart to bring Jimmy G back. He's insinuating that is the right move. So I don't know if you're saying that I said that. I didn't say that he said that's going to play out that way. But he's saying that's what would be the move to make. And it's not a move that's even possible to make. That's my point. So I don't know if you're talking about me or Chardell. Chardell was worked up. Cut him some slack. He almost went into rant mode 3 times. Tyler, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show yet again, buddy.
Sorry, bad connection.
No problem. What's up?
I was just wondering when I made the thing about Aaron Jones earlier, you think Aaron Jones is better without Aaron Rodgers or better with?
He's had such a good career with him, and Aaron Rodgers knows how to throw to him and make him a very good wide receiver / running back, like the inverse of Debo in some sense. Do I think that the lack of production recently for Aaron Jones is related to Aaron Rodgers, or is it a drop-off of Aaron Jones? I don't know. I would imagine he's better with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones. But, I don't think I would entirely write him off and say he can't have a good year under the command of Jordan Love, who might lean on him a ton and might throw the ball to him a ton. We don't really know. But I think I'm more worried about, did he drop off? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? He's always been an injury risk until the season I predicted him to be a top 5 running back coming off of some injured years. He got his nutrition on point. He was a workout monster. Aaron Jones was so fit and ready to go in the offseason. So I put him on my bold predictions as I think number 6 or 5 overall. I forget what the number was. And I said Aaron Jones is going to win leagues this year. And Tyler just hung up again. Tyler, call back if you want. And I saw Aaron Jones breaking out. And it was an amazing call. It was an amazing year. He's been on and off great. But he's played a lot. And so you got to wonder, is it going to be more of the same from Aaron Jones this coming season, or will somehow, some way, the departure of Aaron Rodgers, if he does leave, make the team lean on him in a way that's just, a revival year for him? It could be. Smitty, what do you think? Trade AJ today for the 1.4, 1.7 in 2023. It depends on what you land. Obviously, a statement you didn't want me to, you probably aren't waiting for that answer because that's an obvious answer. But let's say you get Charbonnet and Zay Flowers. I'm really liking it, but I do love A.J. Brown. And ultimately, the safer move is to go with A.J. Brown. But if you want to roll the dice, you're rebuilding, you can't win with A.J. Brown. Like, if your team's not ready to win a championship right now, that is a decent move if you land the picks. If you don't land the picks and you get sniped, then you could be in trouble. But if you land Charbonnet and you get Quentin Johnston or you get Zay Flowers, then, bro, you could be looking pretty good. What if Gibbs fell? You don't know. So it's not bad. Old QBs lose arm strength and throw to running backs all the time, says Hod. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has lost any arm strength, Hod, though. That's the thing, though. Aaron Jones, great running back, too, says Space Ricky. Maybe Lamar goes to the Colts. Probably zero chance of that, Hector, because Lamar has full control over where he's going because he will refuse to sign a contract extension with the Indianapolis Colts. He will not want to play for the Indianapolis Colts. We've heard no buzz or any interest at all about the Indianapolis Colts. So if, let's say, they called up the Indianapolis Colts and said, we'll trade you Lamar Jackson for 8 first-rounders. And they went, oh, God, we got to accept the deal. They go to Lamar. Lamar, we're getting 8 first-rounders instead of 3, buddy. You got to go. Lamar says, no. And they say, well, we're going to trade you anyway if you want to play this out. And guess what? The Colts say, Lamar, you signing this extension the moment this is getting announced, right? I'm not signing an extension with you. I don't want to play for the Colts. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and cancel that trade. That's exactly how it works. So the Colts are a 0% chance of landing spot for Lamar Jackson. Maybe not 0. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he loves Indianapolis, man. Maybe he's got family there we don't know about. I don't know. I would say very low percentage. Very low. Very low percentage, my guy. It's not a good spot anyway. We want him to go. I mean, I like Pittman enough that I could get behind it or whatever, but no, that's not a spot. That's not even like, I don't even think they want to run that kind of offense. Lamar's a very interesting quarterback. You can't just like plug and play him anywhere, Throw him in Indianapolis, you got to change your entire offense, which maybe they would do because what do they really have? We don't want to change what we got going on. We're building something real special in Indianapolis. You saw it last year. Very simple, 4 plays. The Saturday experiment, as much as I loved it, we had fun with it. It was a very simplistic approach. They probably had 4 or 5 plays. The league figured them out real quickly. They saw all 4 or 5 of them over and over, and they're like, okay, these guys run the sweep left, the sweep right, the HB plunge, and then these 3 passes. Yeah, we're not changing that. Lamar Jack, we've got something real special here that we're building this offense. I don't know if Lamar would pick it up that quick. It's that complex. It's a really good system we've got. It's on one card on the wrist. You can read every play in real big writing. 3 or 4 runs. 3 or 4 passes. That's what they're working with. That's better, DC. Let's see. If Lamar leaves one of these guys, Carr, Jimmy, etc., could end up in Baltimore. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting situation. If they could always try and bring back Huntley if they can't find what they want. But if let's say Lamar Jackson does go to the Falcons, for example, which is what we all want, which we all hope this is the best move. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door. Then it's like, I mean, Baltimore's on this board all of a sudden. If Green Bay trades Aaron Rodgers, then Love is off this board, and he's staying in Green Bay. If Aaron Rodgers returns to Green Bay, then Jordan Love is going to one of these teams. And that's the interesting move because Jordan Love could go anywhere because they would trade him and he'd have no say because he's not signing necessarily signing the contract extension. Although, if he said, I don't want to play for you, a team may say, well, we're really interested in the long-term prospect of trading for you, even though you don't really technically have a say. You can't really even hold out. It make no sense. He'd go wherever he's sent. And especially given that he wants to start, like, think about it from this perspective. If you went to Jordan Love and you said, Jordan Love, you're either going to be behind Aaron Rodgers this year or we're trading you to the Panthers. He'd be like, send me to the Panthers. I don't care where it is. Send me wherever you want. Send me wherever you want. Send me to Miami. I'll compete with Tua. Whatever. Send me anywhere I want a chance to start. So his idea of a good, better landing spot is different than the idea of, let's say, a Jimmy G or a Derek Carr or a Carson Wentz who have total control to make sure they go to the best possible fit to maybe give them the best possible chance of a longer term success. Because if you get forced to go somewhere, you don't know what's going to happen. But in case of Jordan Love, he can't wait around. He's got to go start. He'll take anything. Tyler says, sorry, bad reception for me. Jones would be great with Love because he's doing most of the work, and no because he's not with Rodgers. I think it could go either way. I would say that it's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit presumptuous to say he'll do better with Jordan Love, but could he do the same? I think he could. I don't see a reason why he can't have, similar success, but I'm more so worried that he's dropped off, and Dylan and Aaron Jones are going to rotate. But Aaron Jones is going to have that 3 or 4 touchdown game, and then he's going to do nothing for 3 weeks again, and then have that, do you remember at one point last year, Aaron Jones had, 4 touchdowns? Does anybody remember correctly? What game was that? Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns, and it was crazy. Let me see if I can find it. Aaron Jones. Let me pull up his game log. After that game, he does this every year. He was a top 5 running back to a lot of people immediately for a short stint of time. Where was that game? Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't for 4 touchdowns. What was it? What was the game? 143 yards. You had a big game there. Was it week 1 where you said 2 touchdowns? 132 yards, 38 yards. What was it? I feel like he had a 3. It was like a 3 TD or more game, I thought. Let's see. Aaron Jones. Okay, so he had 2 TDs in week number 7. He had... It must have just been this week 2 game, and I'm remembering a little bit differently. But here's Aaron Jones's, I believe, big game. That when he had this game, everybody thought he was going to revitalize his amazing fantasy football season. God, why did I think it was different? Let's see here. I think it was this game right here. Let me go ahead and put it on screen. But it was a big outing for sure. Was this it? Can anybody remember if I'm remembering this correctly? I think this is his only monster game. And I know he did it the season prior too. But this right here, 132 yards, a touchdown, 38 yards and a touchdown. Was that it? I thought it was bigger than that. But when he had this game, everybody and their mother was like, this guy's back. This guy's back, baby. He's back. He's a top 5 running back. And he quickly fell off. I also feel like maybe it was this 143-yard game in this 130-yard game. So he's got the potential. He's certainly got the potential. He had 9 receptions in week number 7. But it was this game right here. Whereas
motion detected at the backyard.
Ziggy, show me the backyard. It was these 2 games right here, I believe. These 2 games right here. Let me put this on screen. Okay, Miss Smitty's home. Ziggy, studio. Oh, no, not studio. Ziggy, off. Ziggy, off. He's worthless. These 2 games, Aaron Jones, 143 yards on 20 carries, 7.2 a pop. 138 yards and a touchdown on 24 carries, 5.8 a pop. I mean, Aaron Jones had, to be honest with you, look at that 90-yard game in week 15. Look at that week 17, 111 yards. Look at the 110 yards in week 4, 132 in week 2. You know what? I feel like I'm misremembering. To be completely honest with you guys, I'm a little embarrassed. That I didn't remember how good of a year at times Aaron Jones was in 2022. I mean, does anybody else feel like that they remembered those stats differently? Look at these stats. 132 yards and a touchdown in week number 2. We're not even showing his receiving stats here. He had 9 receptions in week number 7. But these are some good games. I'm actually a little shocked that I didn't remember Aaron Jones' season the same way that he actually played it out. And on top of that, Aaron Jones' game log, let's go over to his game log. His game log was not too shabby. He had 7 touchdowns. I think that's where he dropped off, is the touchdowns weren't there. But he actually had a really decent statistical year minus the touchdowns, and he still probably finished. I don't know what RB he finished, but in 2022, 11-21, 5.3 yards per carry. Like, we sit there and say, oh, he dropped off. Did he? 5.3 yards per carry. Maybe he didn't drop off. 5 100-yard rushing games, 2 touchdowns. That was very bad. 59 receptions, not bad. 395 and 5 receiving touchdowns. Ron Navy, live on the Fantasy Football Show. I don't think I remembered Aaron Jones' stat line correctly. In my mind, I pictured a much worse season. Maybe he does have one more year left. Who knows?
Yeah, look, I think the game that you're remembering, the 3 touchdowns, it was Dylan who scored the 3 touchdowns, and that was against the Rams.
No, I'm not remember. I know what you're saying, but I'm remembering Aaron Jones specifically. I actually remember talking, I believe, to you about it. That's why it doesn't make sense that it's week 2, because you weren't here during week 2, right? So it was like it was Aaron Jones. You what?
What do you mean I wasn't?
Oh yeah, you were here. You were here in week 2. I'm misremembering that too. I'm senile. Ron, I'm losing it. I think I remember that maybe it was week 2, and maybe we were talking, but it was Aaron Jones all of a sudden had this revival of value. I forget where it was, what week. I think it was week 2 based on looking at that, or maybe it was one of the other 100-yard games and it wasn't a multi-TD game, and I'm misremembering the touchdown part of it. But there was a point where it was like we all kind of. And Mixon was the guy, too. Mixon was another guy. Mixon had that monster game, and we talked about – that was the one where you and I talked about it. It was the Mixon one. But the Aaron Jones had a game where people thought he was back, and apparently he had a pretty decent year. But this one right here, where it was week 9 for Joe Mixon. Week 9. This is Joe Mixon's game log. This week –
like 4, didn't he?
Yeah, it was 4 touchdowns, 153 yards, and I was very – on the fence about trying to support this. We both were. I remember we were both pretty negative about it, saying, he's not gonna, continue to do this, guys. He had a big game. Maybe he bounces back and has a pretty decent, rest of the season. But you can see he didn't. He had 2 touchdowns the remainder of the year. He had a 96-yard game, a 105-yard game, and then the rest was pretty garbage. And the carries weren't good either. It was 11 carries, 2 carries, 11 carries, 20, 14, 16, 8, 7. But he had 153 yards and 4 TDs in this game, and that was the time to sell him immediately, because you could sell him as a top 5 to 7 running back. But I'm actually shocked that Aaron Jones had that good of a season. Part of me wonders if Aaron Jones is going to 5 TDs. Was it a receiving TD too? I think he might have had a receiving touchdown as well. Let's see, 4 TDs. Yes, he had 58 yards and a touchdown through the air. So 5 TD game.
Dylan had that 3 touchdown game, but actually. He also had a good game in that game. Look up the Rams game. You'll see that he actually had, I think he had 1 or 2 touchdowns himself. Dylan got hurt, and then Jones had a really good game during that Rams game too.
The 90 yards. I see a 90-yard, 36 yards. Yeah, so I see him only having 90 yards. 90 yards rushing. In the Rams game, he did not. He had 90 yards rushing, no touchdowns on the ground. He had 4. Oh, he did have receiving. Okay. 36 yards and a receiving touchdown. Yeah, good game.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah, and I think Dylan had 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe I'm on board Aaron Jones late in the draft. What's his underdog ADP looking like? I'm going to go into a draft here and screenshot the last draft I did, and we'll see where Aaron Jones went.
Down around the Pacheco area.
All right, I'm gonna go to one of my recent drafts here. I'm gonna screenshot, guys. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Go there now. I'm gonna drop the link in the live chat. Make sure you go sign up now, because we're gonna be drafting live tonight. And if you don't sign up ahead of time, you're not getting in. You're not getting in because the spots go so quickly, and so you want to sign. You want to sign up early right now. I'm gonna drop the link right now. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to pin the link. It's in the live chat. Get on over to Underdog Fantasy and sign up now. They'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. But we're going into live drafts. These are live drafts. These are not mock drafts. And I'm going to put Aaron Jones. Where's Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones. Mixon went at the middle of the 6th round. Aaron Jones went, holy crap, where's he at? He can't be this low. I must have missed him.
Not high, but it's not.
Where did he go? I'm looking for Aaron Jones on this. I'm going to screenshot it. Maybe he went high in this draft. Hold on. Aaron Jones. Look on one of your underdogs and let's try and guess his best ball.
He goes after Dalvin Cook. He's been going after Dalvin Cook. Pacheco. Javonte.
Here he is. I just found him. Wow, this is good value. I'm live, during the stream, coming up with a value that I really like, and you're seeing me work it out in front of everybody here because I didn't realize that he was such a good value, and I didn't realize he had done so well.
Swift is going before him.
Yeah, maybe it's a good value, like especially in best ball when you're drafting in a way that you're trying to, do a big wide receiver push in the beginning of your draft, and you're going to come back and get a running back. So Aaron Jones going right around 63 to, I would say, 68 based on what I'm looking at here. So kind of where Kamara's going. Like you could technically take the boys back to back. If you leave Kamara for the eighth or ninth round if you're going to go that route. But you could literally get, so if you went wide receiver heavy, you could get Cam Akers. Cam Akers at 86 is pretty good value, and that's coming from a guy that constantly talks about Cam Akers being a guy that's going to continue to let you down. But I do like Cam a little more this year. He's 1 year removed from his Achilles. But like, what if you took Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, and I know you'll never take Alvin Kamara, but if you took Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, and Cam Akers as your 3 RBs, and you got like Charbonnet maybe the next round, and you went all wide receiver and tight end and quarterback shopping from week 5 up, not a bad approach. Like Aaron Jones is looking like a really decent running back too for just 1 more year.
I'd take Swift before I took Kamara.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would too, but I think Kamara does have his place. Not because I don't care. I mean, I usually don't You what?
Behind bars. You're 100% right. He does have his place, and that's behind bars.
Yeah, I don't let somebody's off the field things affect whether I would draft them on principle, unless somebody did something that we've never seen done in the NFL. So I don't even want to say those things on the air here. But like if someone did something crazy, like I could say out of principle I'm not drafting. I could see that, but no one's ever like. And some could say Caruth or Ray Lewis. Some people bring up those things. I don't do IDP. So, but I will say that Kamara, from a fantasy football analyst perspective, I can advise people to say, hey, if you were to take him, could I see the NFL completely screwing this one up? Could I see the NFL completely ignoring the situation and allowing Kamara to play for half of a season? The answer is yes. I feel like the NFL is capable of allowing this man to play half a season. Do I think he shouldn't play? I absolutely think he should be banned for at least the 1 full year, Kamara. But those are two different things. My logic and what the NFL will do. So I'm trying to, in some ways, predict that. Yeah, could I envision a world where Kamara gets away with it and plays half of a season? I do, and so I would take him at like 9, 10 round territory. But it has to be like look at the players in round 9 and 10. Like, would I take Josh Downs over him? Maybe not. Would I take Freiermuth over Kamara? Yes, if I need a tight end. So there's a chance I'm still not taking Kamara. Would I rather have Kyler Murray? No, because Kyler Murray's maybe he doesn't even play the whole year as well. Would I like Donovan Peoples-Jones in round 10 over the shot of Kamara being completely mishandled by the NFL and playing for 8 games? Yes, I'd rather take Kamara. Would I rather have Khalil Herbert over Kamara? If the Bears don't draft an RB, Khalil Herbert will not only be on my potential moon man list, he'll be on the satellite list probably earlier than that. But if he escapes the NFL draft, I think his value in terms of everyone's eyes, will vault into the 5 or 6 round range. Like if Khalil Herbert's the starter in Chicago, coming out of free agency and coming out of the NFL draft, if he's the top dog lone starter, he's going to be a round 5-6 guy, easy. Yeah. So, anyways, interesting to talk about Aaron Jones. I didn't realize he had that good of a season. It's kind of cool to see that, honestly.
We really live in a sick world. Michael Vick goes to prison for dogfighting, but Kamara and them probably won't go to prison for almost killing somebody.
Yeah, it is a sick world, bro. It is. And
that's sick.
And Calvin Ridley's not even in the game. He walked away from the game, placed like what was it? It wasn't a $1,000 wager, right? It was like barely $1,000 wager, and he was out for the year. But Kamara gets to play, even though there's video footage and evidence. Ben, you can call in. Ben was on hold and Ben left. Ben, call back. It is a sick world, Christian.
So, yeah, for me, it's principle. For me, I don't care if he is the top-ranked running back
and I expect
in the NFL.
That. And Ron, that's why we love you, pal. We expect that from you. I wear a different hat with it because people are needing it from a strictly business side of it. Give me the scoop of what should I do, and so I separate myself from that. But there's a place where I could say to myself, you know what? I'm not drafting the guy. I'm not recommending anybody draft the guy. Over this fight situation, I'm not there. It's not saying that what he did wasn't horrible. I think he deserves to do time over it. It was horrible, but there are situations like
or in the draft.
What does Blind Larry think about this? Says Mr. TD. Yeah, Vic did deserve time. I don't think Ron was saying he didn't. It's just he's saying the differential of it, like to beat a man almost to death is awful. Sick world, yes it is. Travis, next Dalvin Cook is Gibbs. Absolutely, bro. I think Gibbs is the next Kamara Dalvin Cook combination. Bijan and Brees are all in all my leagues, says John. John, to the moon, pal.
To the moon.
I like the way you think, John. I got a bounce. Ben said, I just wanted to say I have receipts of you drafting Kamara in round 6, and I told you last week Aaron Jones was good. Ha ha, says Ben. You have receipts of me drafting Kamara in round 6 before things got worse and worse, bro. Not recently, but
now 4 days ago, maybe
in round 6.
Yeah, late round.
Oh, maybe yeah. So 6, 7 turn. Yeah, maybe. That's right.
Yeah, you did.
Hey, it's best ball. You know what I mean? Like, would I draft Kamara there in a regular redraft? No, because then you're getting hit hard, and you don't even know when he's coming back. But best ball, the amazing part about best ball is Javonte Williams has some value that he might not have in a redraft setting. Kamara's got different kinds of value. Drafting Brock Purdy and Trey Lance together has different weird kind of value as your backup 2 quarterbacks. So if you drafted, let's say you waited on quarterback, you took Aaron Rodgers, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. So you got this weird best ball optimal lineup that's set for you. So yeah, maybe I did late 6. I would advise people to wait until 7. Oh, you know why I took them? The receipts you have, Ben and Ron, are because we're in a sniping situation. So it was like you move everybody up like 1 or 2 rounds. Whenever we draft together as a community, everything you're going to do, it just gets like moved up around. It sucks. But it's fun. I still love drafting with you all. But
I'm just saying that you drafted him the other day. That's all I said.
You guys might be right, and it's because of the sniping situation. It made Kamara literally vault up a whole round or something. Looking at it. We got Roger on the phone. Oh, Roger just hung up. Man, nobody's hanging around. Roger, call back. Roger was calling. Blind Larry says he loves dogs. Don't get me started on the subject.
What
Jones is falling.
What I'm saying about that is if Michael Vick can go to prison for dogfighting, which I think he deserved it. Kamara deserves to go to prison for almost beating the guy to death.
Blind Larry, Travis says Blind Larry agreed, but Vic learned his lesson and served his time. It was crazy. He did time. Like I'm not, again, Blind Larry, and to everybody, to what Ron's trying to say, I'm not saying he didn't deserve time, but we're seeing players not do time. And I'm just reminding everybody that says that players always get away with anything. Vic actually did time. He went to prison for it. And then he comes back and, revitalizes his career a little bit. It was nice, to see him back on the field. I'm not going to lie, despite what he did. But the fact that Kamara's not going to do time is crazy, because what Ron's saying, I agree with. Both deserve time. I think the dog thing deserves time. There was some, I don't remember exactly how it played out, but I think I want to say that Michael Vick wasn't extremely involved in all the dog stuff, but he enabled it and maybe fronted the money to his buddies that were doing it, and it was like at his house, or I forget what it was, but he was definitely culpable in it. But it was like there was some he was taking the heat for all of it because it happened on his watch, essentially. I think I'm sure he was involved in it or whatever too, but I don't really remember. But Michael Vick,
after Kamara in that car laughing and
that was bad,
and all happy about what he did and everything. Now when the trial comes, you're going to see him playing like a victim role, like he's so sorry and this and that, which is all going to be a role.
And his attorney, saying that he was fearful of, he was scared for his life, and he got in the limo, and he's like, and his buddy turns around from the front seat and goes, if anybody hasn't seen the video, there's footage on Alvin Kamara in the limo. And he turns around and looks at Alvin Kamara, and he says, "You can't do that." Like, I'm paraphrasing. You just can't do that. You're going to invite a lawsuit, and, you're going to get in trouble. And he's like, I know, but you know me, bro. Like, I can't handle, whatever. And so he's admitting that he's got this almost not a one-off, like he was out of his mind for a moment, reacting in despair. And now he's kind of hurt his case for that defense, because he's admitting that you know me, this is how I am. And then he goes, bro, I connected on his jaw so hard. And then the guy in the front seat who was trying to, say this isn't good, started going, yeah, you got, and then there's the girls in the back that are like, I saw that. You connected hard on his jaw. And it's like, bro, it's crazy, man. But anyways, Vic took the rap for it all. Yeah, he did take the rap for it all. I think I remember correctly on that. Really, a full year suspension was a complete joke, says Swaggy. I agree with that in context to the other things that don't get jail time, that don't get full year suspensions. Josh Gordon was a bigger, crazy situation, because that guy wasn't even given a chance to come back, and they just kind of wasted his career away. Now, granted, he kept having moments where you'd fall back and test positive on things, and I get that, but it's crazy that Josh Gordon, you just see someone like Josh Gordon out of the league, and he's not hurting anybody. He's, and then you see someone like Alvin Kamara just skate by and just continue to skate by. Gets to play a full season through pushing everything back. Just ridiculous to me. Who's this?
The thing with Vic too is, it was part of him growing since he was a little boy. His dad, his uncles, and everyone, they all fought dogs, so he was all part of it. The thing is that it took that to happen for him to get rehabilitated into a different mindset of that it's not okay.
Yeah, and we don't know how he, in his defense, he did his time, and I think, he hasn't, everyone said he's been doing great things ever since, and I do feel like I've got confirmation on that from a lot of things I've seen and heard and his actions or whatever. So I don't have any ill will against Michael Vick. The only thing, whenever we mention Michael Vick, and hang on, Roger, don't hang up yet. The only thing that comes to mind when we start mentioning Michael Vick is this whole Lamar Jackson to the Falcons situation. Let's get some running back into the hizzy over in Atlanta. Let's get this back to the Michael Vick days. That's what I'm talking about. Roger, you're on the line. What can we do for you? You're live.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hold on. Yeah, Roger, we got you loud and clear. Roger, over and out.
I'm just A-Rod to the Niners is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Roger, that's a negative. Out, over.
But anyway, I want your thoughts on T. Higgins.
On who? Over.
T. Higgins.
Ron, did he say T. Higgins? Over.
Yes.
Okay, T. Higgins. Look, T. Higgins, I said this at the top, Roger. Real quickly, Roger, let me just acknowledge these super chats. Christian, a lot of us Chiefs fans, not all, want to draft a wide receiver like JSN, Quentin Johnson, because we aren't keeping Juju and CEH. Thoughts as well? I think it'd be fantastic, Christian. I think Zay Flowers, your Tyreek Hill replacement would be the ideal fit. Thoughts on Keenan Allen or Mike Williams for Herbert? Thoughts on Keenan Allen or Mike Williams for Herbert? Thoughts on... Oh, you mean as wide receiver options? You're not talking about trade. I think that this wide receiver group is not good enough. It's not good. Mike Williams is not a number one wide receiver. Keenan Allen is getting older, and they might even go a different direction. They need to get a DeAndre Hopkins in a trade for Herbert, which would be fantastic, or they need to draft an elite top 4 rookie wide receiver and bring that in. Tristan, appreciate your super chat. Terry Roberts, appreciate yours. Kevin says Green Bay has to make moves for their future. Again, Kevin, appreciate you. And Hav G says, oh yeah, I already read that one. Thank you all for your super chats. As for the question at hand, which was T. Higgins, we addressed this at the beginning of the show. T. Higgins is, where is that graphic? Right, I think that graphic's right here. And pull it up. What he's referencing is that, Director of Player Personnel Duke Tobin said that trading T. Higgins is not on my mind, and he said it's a little ridiculous right now, and that it's not his job to make other teams better, and that's their problem, that they don't have a wide receiver. So does that sound like a team that's interested in trading T. Higgins away? My answer would be no. Roger, I defer to you. Over.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I think we will get rid of Mixon. I don't think Mixon will be there.
What about Mixon? Over?
I think they'll get rid of Mixon.
Oh, yeah. I think they definitely they're probably looking. There's that Mixon news. I think I have that somewhere on screen here as well. Joe Mixon's in talk of being a salary cap casualty. Let me see if I can find that news. I think that's right here. Yeah. Athletic is, and this is the Athletic with their speculative piece, right? Joe Mixon could be a cap casualty, but I do hear from multiple places that is a possibility, so I don't think this is one writer going rogue and coming up with some weird idea. He's a cap casualty because he's dropping off. We saw the drop-off happen. We knew the drop-off was coming. I was a year early on the drop-off. I didn't like him the year prior. He had more of a better year than I expected. I'm always going to be sometimes a year early. Look at Derrick Henry, but I think Derrick Henry falls off big time this year. I could be a year early on Austin Eckler, but I don't think I will be because he's a smaller statured back. 28 years old. 28's the new 31. The new 30. 28's the new 30. 29's the new 31. So running back.
So, where do you think Mixon would be a good landing spot for him?
I'm going to go ahead and say Miami might be the one place that a guy like Mixon could be revived for a good half a season, something like that. I think Miami would be perfect for him. Over.
And what do you think about Bengals drafting Gibbs?
Who? What team? Over?
The Bengals drafting Gibbs.
Ron, can you assist me on that? I couldn't make it out.
The Bengals drafting Gibbs.
Denver
drafting Gibbs.
Denver. Okay.
Gibbs.
Thank you. Over. I think Denver is not a spot I want a running back going to, bro. Especially after the video we dropped today. We're trying to be optimistic for Javonte Williams. If Denver drafted Gibbs, I think we'd all be a little upset. Because then we have a sharing situation that hurts Gibbs and hurts Javonte. And it takes away a starting running back at the NFL level. It takes away a starting running back in fantasy football for the future and the remainder of the season. You know, I don't want that at all. I don't want anything to do with that. If maybe Javonte was not going to have a shot at bouncing back, I would love that, but because I love Sean Payton and what Sean Payton did with Kamara and all that, I mean, it makes sense that that's a good fit, but it's a disaster. Unless, like, Javonte was going to be traded or they're just not going to even consider him. But I don't think that's the case because Javonte, it's very easy to forget about him and just move on. But this guy was, I will go to my grave that if he didn't get injured, he would have, obviously grabbed the starting job very quickly because they moved on from Melvin Gordon pretty fast. And Javonte is so good at breaking tackles, he would have made it impossible to take him off the field once they gave him more and more work. I know he would have been a top 5 running back. I really do believe that in my core. Do I think he could ever? Will he get a fair shake? Will the situation be awful for him and just screw him? I think there's a real decent shot that happens. There's a real decent shot he bounces back. It's just I'd be crazy and reckless to tell you it's going to go one way or the other because it's dependent on the draft, like you just said. What if they took Gibbs? It's dependent on free agent running backs. What if they bring in a Josh Jacobs? Or what if they bring in even somebody to the tune of Jamal Williams, who's a touchdown specialist to everybody because of what he did last year? And there's proof in the pudding there that he's good at grabbing scores. I just think that it's reckless to approach Javonte like I'm approaching Breece Hall. Breece Hall coming off an ACL tear, I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as people think, and this is coming from a guy that avoids injuries. But what do I avoid really is older players that are not capable of recovering from injuries that are injury prone. But when you're a young player, you're a young buck like Hall, it's not going to be as difficult to overcome this. With Javonte, it's a worse injury. It's a potentially crowded backfield, and we just don't have any indication what's going on yet. So once we know, I'll be able to jump back on board pretty quickly. But Gibbs, where we want Gibbs to fall, Roger, is probably going to be if my ideal landing spot for Gibbs, because I think he goes later. I don't think he's got a shot at going where Bijan might go, and Bijan could fall too. But you're talking about the 30 pick to Philly. You're talking about the 29 pick to New Orleans, maybe. Depending on what they do with Kamara. If they release Kamara or something crazy, then Gibbs in New Orleans would be pretty decent. But I'd rather him not go there because there's no quarterback yet. Maybe they sign Derek Carr. Who knows? Cincinnati's a great spot.
Peyton loves like I compare Gibbs to Kamara.
Of course.
And Peyton loves them kind of guys. I feel like he's going to draft him.
He could, and we're going to be, like I said, devastated in one sense and worried for Gibbs and Javonte. But I think Gibbs in Buffalo would be great. That would be a great spot. Baltimore, I think it's too early to consider Gibbs at 22, but they would want him, but I don't know that they would take him there. Kansas City could step in and take Gibbs, and then we're not going to know what to do on that. We're going to be like halfway excited, halfway like scared to death that it's just going to be like every other time they screw a player up because they just spread the ball around. But Clyde was drafted in the last pick in the first round, and they didn't use him. So I don't think we want a running back going to KC. A late running back maybe like a Kendre Miller, and then like maybe I'd rather him go to a place where he could start. But I'm just saying if we're gonna pick a running back in my top 5 for the rookie running backs, at least make it one of the late ones like Bigsby or Kendre Miller. And maybe they're a good stash and hold, but I don't want any of the big name guys going to KC. I don't want them going to Denver. I don't want them going to any place with a crowded backfield.
I got you. Hey, are you going to draft tonight?
We're going to draft tonight. Yes, sir. Over.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you. I want to know.
Roger, we appreciate you. Over and out, buddy. Call back anytime.
All right, later.
That's Roger, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what he's calling in. We don't care. We don't ask questions, and we don't want it to change because that's Roger. We love him just the way he is. Some say he calls on a fax line. Some say he's calling from a printer. He's calling from the actual printer, dialing the number, and instead of sending a print job screenshot over to your boy Smitty, he's dialing into the show on a printer. We don't know. We don't care. We don't ask questions, and we don't want it to change. Ron Navy, I got to leave. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, Rodgers calling from the moon. Don't you know he works on the moon, waiting to receive all those great players that are going to the moon?
True.
That's where Rodgers calling.
True. Rodgers on his way he's in outer space. That's why that connection's bad. One small for Roger, one giant leap for Moonman. Or a submarine, maybe.
Yeah. He's taking care of it, man.
That'd be funny if, like, it's not Roger's phone. That's just his voice. Like, when we see him in person, I'm like, hey, Roger, what's up, man? What's up, All right. Ron, any final thoughts?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, later, pal. Appreciate you.
Later.
Ron Navy, ladies and gentlemen, the top super chatter of a lifetime in a single super chat, and also the biggest super chatter of the year so far. Who's going to knock off Ron Navy? He's dropped a 150 watt on screen. Appreciate everybody that's dropping super chats, keeping the lights on here at the Fantasy Football Show. Never expected, always appreciated. But Ron Navy is the current leader in a single super chat, lifetime and single super chat of 2023 thus far. I appreciate every single one of you that's called in, left a comment, everything. And I think I got a couple messages here real quickly. Let me see if anybody dropped any voice messages for the show. Tristan, I think you called in with yours. Yours wouldn't play, so I apologize that I didn't get to play it on the show here, but you called in. I think you took care of it. I'll see you all tonight. I'm going live to do live drafting. That link has been dropped. We're gonna go on over to Underdog Fantasy using promo code Smitty. The link is in the live chat. The link is in the description. If you're watching the replay, please click the link and sign up using code Smitty, which the link will insert code Smitty for you. It's easy that way. Sign up, minimum $10 deposit. In the drafts, they cost $10, or there's a $3 little board. But these are live drafts with the rookies included. So if you deposit $10, they'll give you $10. If you deposit $50, they'll give you $50 on your first deposit, all the way up to $100, dollar for dollar. So let's just say you want to deposit the minimum $10. That means they give you 10, and you'll be able to draft in 2 different drafts, best ball. No lineups, no waivers. You draft and you're done, and you wait until the end of the year to see if your strategy got you the best lineup that you could get. Optimal lineup being set for you each week. Like you draft 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and then the best quarterback starts each week, and the others don't score points for you. It's the number one scorer in the lineup for your entire team being decided based on the overall scoring each week. It's so fun. It's hands-free. There's no hassle. You just check and see if you won. And the prizes, there's over $1 million in prizes. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'll see you all tonight. The link is in the live chat. Please get signed up ahead of time, or you won't get in if you don't go and sign up now. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all. I work for you. Also, get on over to, if you want year-round rankings, bold predictions, my one-on-one text advice. You want to buy a 10-minute phone call, 15-minute phone call, go over to thefantasyfootballshow.com and check out my products. All my stuff is over at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Bold predictions, trade calculators, year-round rankings, super rookie rankings, which are the sophomores and rookies only, the rookie rankings, the top 200 redraft, the top 200 dynasty, the dynasty cheat sheet, the redraft cheat sheet, auction dollars attached to every single player on my rankings, because I think it's important to support auction dollars and people. And even if, let's say, you don't play in an auction, the auction dollars are really great to let you know the distance between 2 players. Because if I have 2 players neck and neck, and one's at $44 and one's at $41, it's a significant difference between a player that's below that's 40. So 44, 41, and 40, you get a sense of the disparity between the 3 players ranked, right on top of each other. Get on over and check it out. Appreciate you all. Yep, Hod, copy that. Roger, over and out. Roger, see you later. That's a copy, Frank. Copy, Frank. Roger that, D-Town. Roger that. Mix into Planet Uranus. Roger, don't apologize. Hold on. I don't know what nerve you have, Roger, apologizing for your phone. You call up on a clear line one of these days, I'm hanging up on you. You hear me? Roger, don't ever apologize for your printer or your fax machine or whatever you're calling in on, a CB radio that you've rigged. You apologize from that, we're hanging up on you. Hot mic, over. See you all later tonight. Midnight Eastern or a little bit after. Over.